This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Today's breakfast is being donated by Rabbi and Mrs. Backenroth in honor of all those who are coming to learn it, both boys and their parents and grandparents, and in memory of Miriam Liba, Bas Rab Aaron, her neshama should have a lichtige Gan Eden. Today's Perek Beis. So we know that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai gave his 5 elite Talmidim a mission. Go out, look at the world, and see what is the good way that a person should stick to, should cleave to. I wanted to choose the answer of Reb Shimon ben Nesanel, because experience shows a person how if you have this trait and you share it with your children, the course, it's really a derech. The choices that a person makes pays back very much later on in life. Reb Shimon says, Rabbi Shimon Aimer Haroya es hanoilad. Someone who sees what's going to occur, sees the future. In English, someone who has foresight. Upon reflection of what Reb Shimon is saying, if a person has foresight and they prepare themselves to be able to support their family, a person when they get married has foresight and looks for someone who's easygoing, someone who they could count on, someone who will be a good parent. Sometimes I speak to people that are dating. You think they'll be a good parent? They say to me, huh? And of course, the ultimate foresight is to think about Olam Haba. That Olam Hazeh is only daimel a priester to a hallway lefnei Olam Haba. To view the world as a priester, to view the world as a hallway. So if we look further, by the way, it says that when Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was describing his Talmidim, he described Reb Shimon ben Nesanel as a Yirei Chet, as one who fears sin. If one adopts this posture of thinking about payment for sin and Gehenim, that will be an inhibition to sin. There will be a certain inhibition. So now if we follow, so the Rebbe offered them another challenge. Ezui derech ra sheyisrachek mimen ha'adam. What should a person distance themselves from? And Rabbi Shimon, it's interesting what he said. Of all the things to distance yourself from, right? We would say machloikis, lashon hara. What does Rabbi Shimon say? Haloive ve'enoi mishalim. When it takes a loan and doesn't pay. What a clear choice. Loive ve'enoi mishalim. But if you think about it, loive ve'enoi mishalim is the ultimate not being royas hanoilad. You took that loan. Did you make a calculation whether you'll be able to pay it back or not? And it's so interesting when a person takes a loan and doesn't pay. He hurts so many other people that this person doesn't want to give loans anymore. And when you don't pay a loan, it's the ultimate mishalem ra tachas taiva. Paying bad for good. That's all in the concept of Reyes HaNoilad. Then, if we'll go further down the Mishnayos, and we'll look where Reb Shimon surfaces again. So Reb Shimon tells us in Mishnah Yutes, Va'al tihi rasha b'fnei atzmacha. Now there's many different interpretations of what this means. Don't be wicked in your own eyes. But Rashi, and it seems to be Rashi wants to be consistent with Reb Shimon's thread. Rashi says, don't do anything that later on you're going to look at yourself that you're a rasha. Don't raise your hand against another person, because what did Moshe Rabbeinu say? Rasha lamasaka esriecha. So don't even raise your hand at someone. Not even talking about chas v'shalom, a wife. But that's being, don't do something that later you'll consider yourself a rasha. Don't look at something on the computer that later you'll consider yourself a rasha. That's being Reyes HaNoilad. The Rambam, Rabbeinu Yoina, learned this kipshutai. Don't let the Yetzer Hara convince you, you're already a rasha. Forget about it. You hardly learn anyway. Come on, you're sitting in shul already. Half the time you didn't have kavanah. You're going to start to have kavanah now? You already have a reputation. What, do you think you're going to change it? Says Rambam and Rabbeinu Yoina, that's all the eights of the Yetzer Hara. Al tihi rasha b'fnei atzmecha. I always like to tell people, there's a famous kasha of the Rav Mibar Tanura. The Rav wrote a Pirush on Chumash, on Rashi, and the Rivah. It says by Yishmael the same lashon that it says by Sarah. Eili Yemei Chaya Yishmael, and it says Ma'ashana. It breaks down his years. So by Sarah it was Kulan Shavan L'Taiva. So you're going to say Yishmael's years were Kulan Shavan L'Taiva? It says that Sarah Imenu saw Yishmael Mitzachek. And Rashi says, Avidazor Gilarais and Shvichas Damim. So what's Pshat? Eili Yemei Shnei Chaya Yishmael Kulan Shavan L'Taiva. Says both the Riva and the Rav, they did Tshuva Me'ava. The Shmuel did Tshuva Me'ava. When you do Tshuva Me'ava, all the Averis become Kischuyas. So indeed, he when he did Tshuva, he reversed his whole life. So instead of being burdened by the mistakes of the past, he converted them into mitzvahs. So nobody should be burdened by the mistakes of the past. The Rav learns V'alti Rasha b'fnei atzmecha differently. Rav learns V'alti Rasha, don't be wicked by b'fnei atzmecha, by being yourself. Don't be a Pirish min hatzibur. If you're a Pirish min hatzibur, some people, Rav gets up to speak, they walk out. Don't be a Pirish min hatzibur. There's a community project, this person is not involved. Don't be a Pirish min hatzibur. You know, in the Haggadah it says about the Rasha, Ulefi shepirish atzmai min haklal. That was the problem with the Rasha. He said, Ma avoda azois lochem. It was pirish min hatzibur. I want to conclude with the following thoughts. Reb Shimon is telling us that the biggest midah to be medabek is to be Reyes HaNoilad. Rav Muller, in his excellent Pirkay Avos, wants to learn and make a diak in one of the critical psukim in the Torah. The Rebbeinu Shalom says, why did I love Avram? ki adativ. And Rashi says, chiba yisera. Why did I love Avram? Lemana sheyitzave es bonav es b'nei beisoy achor. Lishmor derech Hashem. But Rav Muller says this, that word acharav is extra. Ki adativ lemana sheyitzave es bonav es b'nei beisoy. What's acharav? It says lemana sheyitzave es bonav es b'nei beisoy acharav. To think what's coming after. To think ahead. It's a gift to give children. To think ahead. So are you preparing? Are you learning now? You learn now when you have time in yeshiva. If you give yourself a Torah mind and you get into good habits, then you're going to learn your whole life. If you pick wisely, then you'll have a good life. If you put away money and save, it'll be easier for you later. And of course, when we think about that we want to be prepared for the next world, Rabbi said this January 1st, make a decision whether to learn Daf Yomi. Daf Yomi is a discipline. Who's going to get a chance in life to learn Tamura? You're going to pick up a Tamura? You're going to pick up an Aruch? You're going to pick up a Krisis? Daf Yomi is the discipline to pick up a Krisis. Otherwise, who picks up a Krisis? Who has time to learn Krisis? Who has the geduld to learn Krisis? It's big balata, very hard. Not negela maisa. One of my Balabatim said, I can't believe it. My wife asked me, what am I doing? I'm going to a shir. I'm learning for a month an Aveira that's not negela maisa. Mesechtes Mila. An Aveira that's not negela maisa. It's a discipline. It's a rayas hanoilad. May we be zeichetaka to have foresight. To think, you know what, I'm could vent now and let off steam now in the home, but then I'm stuck the whole night with the person that I hurt. It's also a foresight. We should have foresight. And that's because we should be zeicher l'shtei shulchanos.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.